And speaking of the arts, I'm so happy. I've known Catherine Smith for, 15 years?
At least.
At least.
Yeah.
And she's so passionate about the arts. And she was kind enough to bring today Lois Reswick, who's the president of the Maui Arts League. And there's going to be a huge gala this Friday. And it's not going to be raining. There's going to be it's going to be at the Royal Lahaina Resort. Champagne, fine dining, and award-winning landscape artists, at least 90 of the latest paintings. And tickets are on sale right now at celebrateartonmaui.org. We don't want people to wait on this one because this is really a big event. You've been working, Lois, with the Maui Arts League even before it was the Maui Arts League, right?
Yes. The organization was first nonprofit status was in 1975. The group was known as the West Maui Cultural Council back then. And it was a group of people who lived in the community of all ethnic groups, and they got together after school, and they had potlucks, and they had hula, and so forth. And then over the years, the group kind of dissipated, and they kept the 501c3 alive. Mm-hmm. And in 2006, Ronaldo Macedo, who's one of our fine artists that lives here on Maui, decided to have what they call a plein air event in Maui, and they're known as invitationals, where you invite artists to come and participate. Mm-hmm. And at that time, he was working with Theo Morrison.
Oh, yeah.
Theo's, currently the executive director of the Lahaina Restoration Foundation. And so he asked her if she wouldn't help him put this event on, because for those of us who know artists, they need people who are organizers to put the events on, and they just show up and paint.
Yes.
So Theo said yes, and as time goes on, she gets into different jobs, and she finally didn't have enough time to take on the role of managing this event. So she asked me if I would. So in 2006, I took it over, and every time people would ask me, what's the name of your organization? I would say, it's the West Maui Cultural Council. Oh, what's that?
Yeah, yeah.
So it wasn't a very descriptive name for what we were doing, which is highlighting fine art. And so we collectively decided on a new name, and the name was decided to be Maui Arts League. It is an organization that's a membership organization, and our goal is to build a fine arts museum on the west side.
I love that goal. I love that goal. People, it's so expensive and difficult to actually create a museum, I mean, you can think, wouldn't it be nice to have a museum? But I don't think most people realize what it takes to really create
Well, it's
a
going to be
museum.
a lot of brick and mortar grants. And Lois is working very hard on getting donations in because when you go for a grant like that, you're going to have to put up about 10 to 25% of the money, and then your grantor grants the rest. So we're talking about, multi-million-dollar project with building and so forth. It's going to take a lot, but guess what? We're on our way. We have some reserve funds because Lois is a wonderful administrator of this event, and the event also gives off some money for us, which will later on be used to run the museum. But museum can be very educational for our community. It'll be a hub for our local artists. And unlike the Schaefer Museum, where the collections are coming in, we will have our own collection.
I was going to ask you that. You read my mind and going,
We'll have our own collections, and then we'll put exhibitions together, and we'll send those out to other museums. That's the plan. So
do you know
it's a very big deal.
Where it would be? Have any eyes?
Well, we've already had some people give us some ideas about that, and people want to help us on it. Lois has done a feasibility study with other communities who are about the same size as Lahaina, and they have the places they have a certain size, and the people who have their communities that have visitors coming and going, so that we have an idea of the kind of museum that we want. And Lois can tell you more about that.
Well, I mean, number one, you know how many great artists are here on Maui.
Oh, yes.
And
we
out
have
of all
talent.
the very well-known name artists that are here, there's the next level that a lot of people don't know their names, but they've been doing it and they're recognized here, by everyone. Then there's the level where we don't know their names yet, but they're up and coming artists. And at the Maui Plein Air event, which people came in Friday, right, for the plein air, and they came in from a lot of places for this event, right?
Oh, yes. We have them from all over the United States. We have one from Australia, and these are top-tier, award-winning artists who do landscapes, and they do them outdoors on plein air, and they finish a painting in under 4 hours. So at this event, so
Are you gonna
people
see
can
them?
come. People can come out and watch, and you watch them from a blank canvas all the way to a finished
Wow.
original artwork, and then those finished original artworks are on sale. And plein air paintings are usually on the smaller side, and they're very affordable for people who have never thought about collecting or buying a piece of fine art, an original for their homes. It's a great way to get started, and these are beautiful, beautiful paintings. And I just have to come and see. On Wednesday, we're out at the Kapalua at Montage Kapalua Bay. They'll be
nice.
painting.
Yeah.
We'll have an exhibition there, and then on Friday night is our big gala that you talked about, and people can come and they'll sit and dine in a huge art gallery. It'll be the Royal Lahaina Resort Ballroom, 4,000 square foot room, and paintings all around the outside.
Wow.
All these fine art, really top tier, wonderful paintings by originals by famous artists.
Wow.
So, and then we'll have the champagne, and we'll have a sit down banquet for our people, and then dessert, and people wait all year to come out and buy a painting.
So on this one, I know a lot of times you need to get in advance, and I was someone had actually asked if they could even wait. We are going to have good weather, Friday, folks, but people wait to see. So can they wait till Thursday or Friday and still get in, or they need to get their tickets in advance?
We would like to have them get them in advance.
Yes, because we only have so many seats, and so we're pretty close to capacity, and we still have some room, but, this is only Tuesday, or is it Tuesday?
Yeah,
I'm
Tuesday.
losing track.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday.
So Friday's just around the corner. I think it would be very beneficial to get your tickets. You do it online at celebrateartonmaui.org, and on the top of the nav bar, you just click on tickets and you fill out the form.
And we want you to know that that everything that comes in to us is part of your donation to a 501c3 organization as well. We will make every effort to get people in, and even if they get their orders in today, tomorrow, Thursday, and if even Friday, just go on to celebrateartonmaui.org, and you can buy your tickets there.
So how do you decide? Now, there's 24 artists out there, and braving the weather today, and it's supposed to be better tomorrow, guys. But how do you decide? How do the original plein air artists, these 24, get in here? They just all provide their own.
No.
Well, they would petition us, and they would ask if they could. They could tell us that they're willing to come, but it's our invitation.
Yeah, we have a anonymous selection committee.
Oh, okay.
So that they can't tap Catherine on her shoulder or my shoulder and say, hey, would you squeeze me in? So we're not involved in the selection process, but the artists say they want to be considered. We have the requirements on the website for artists to look at to see what is required. Things like, do you have a website of your own? What kind of awards have you won? How much participation have you had in other plein air events? And the reason that's important is our event's 9 days long, and it's very demanding. Many artists just won't even apply because they don't want to adhere to our schedule. We have 3 paint outs where the public comes and watch all the artists, and then they have all the art sales that they have to be at. And so, they're busy, and they produce about 8 to 10 paintings this week.
Wow.
And we sell one painting at the Pioneer Inn, which we did this last Saturday, one at Montage, one at the Quick Draw. And
I didn't know about the quick draw.
the Quick Draw is where you paint in 2 hours, not 4.
Wow.
And so that's being held at the Royal Lahaina Resort this time on the beach. And the artists can set up their easels on the property and paint the mountains if they prefer. And then we'll be selling those paintings in the Ocean Terrace restaurant right inside the Royal Lahaina.
That's on Friday from 8:30 in the morning until 10:30. They'll be painting. You can go around and watch the painters paint, and then we have the reception and art exhibit and sale, which will be from 12 o'clock noon until 1:30.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now, so people can get down there and make a day of it and actually watch
Oh,
it and then
yes.
be
It's a
participating on
Sure.
Friday.
Mhm.
Yeah, oh, that's fantastic.
And it's a family friendly event, so
Yeah.
that it's very educational for kids,
Well,
especially
might
if
wanna
they
spend
love
the night
art.
up there. Spend the night at the Royal Lahaina and make a whole day of it, and spend the night after the party. There.
Yeah, sure.
All that champagne.
All that champagne. Yes, champagne and wine and a craft cocktail is included
Wow.
in the price of the ticket. So it's
Well, it's been pretty amazing how plein air has developed here on Maui, and I saw George Allen at the Hawaii Youth Symphony.
well, George
event
Allen is
there.
going to judge our quick draw on
Oh,
Friday.
isn't he amazing?
Yes.
Him and Janet. I just,
Yeah.
I mean, and there's people now also really teaching. I think was his name Darren Orwin, Darren
Gerald or maybe.
Yeah, he was the used to be the head of the Schaefer.
Yes.
He's teaching plein air, and it's kind of really just really blossomed in the last 5 or 6 years, hasn't it?
It's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Impressionism is hot right now.
Yeah.
And typically, like our artists, when Catherine mentions that they're professional, means that that's how they earn their living. So these guys are typically on a circuit. So they go from Maui to San Francisco to Florida to Maryland every other week.
Wow.
So they're traveling a lot.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And it's demanding. And I think that they do it because it's inspirational. The artists all love painting. There's not a painter that I know that doesn't do it because they love it.
They don't think it's a grind. They love it. They
Yeah.
absolutely love
So
it.
no doubt they're out there painting today, even though it's raining.
It'll be interesting thing because it's a snapshot of what the weather, the people, the feeling is. It
At a given
really
time.
captures that feeling.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Because it is that day, not thought out in a studio over a course of a month. So you really do get the feeling of it. It will be interesting with this weather, what comes
yes.
up.
When the artists
and
talk
it almost
about
look
it,
like watercolor in some
Even if it wasn't intended. I do want to clear up one thing about the quick draw versus the gala. The quick draw is in the morning, like Catherine said, and then we have an open house for the public, which is free in the Ocean Terrace room. And
Yeah.
we do have light refreshments as well. So that particular art sale will be showcasing 24 paintings that day. And it's sponsored by Maui no Ko'oi. And so it's a great time, like Catherine was saying, to have a family excursion. Bring your kids, show them what these artists do. And then that evening in the Royal Lahaina Ballroom is the 6 to 9 p.m., which is a ticketed event. And that
right.
event is
that's when all the awards are given out.
Absolutely. Now, I want to mention this beautiful Celebrate Art on Maui magazine. It's a 2019 Maui Plein Air Painting Invitational that you have. I imagine it's going to be available there?
It will be available there, but it went out. It was in the Maui News on
February 8th.
February 8th. It was delivered to 10,000 homes on
Isn't
Maui.
that nice?
So it's a lot of people who are listening today will have this booklet, Celebrate Art on Maui, right
it
in
gives
their
you an idea of the
homes.
quality. I mean, really beautiful paintings. And I want to give a shout out to you because you worked on doing this and did a beautiful job with it.
This is Lois's baby, and it's
Well, Lois,
she did a
thank
great
you.
job.
Thank you. I love some of these paintings, and in case we were thinking, oh well, this is something. This is we're talking. I mean, world class professional here.
Yes.
Really beautiful art, and you can see it, right?
Yes.
When you look at this, you say, "Wow!" I mean, I like that picture. It's like, I mean, my gosh, some of these are amazing.
And we have the biographies of all these famous artists. And when I was writing these biographies, I didn't put in all their awards because they all have so many awards.
Really?
I wouldn't have room to talk about their paintings and their styles. So we just talked about their styles, and that was all we could get in, but with an example of their art in the book. So it's really lovely, lovely.
Well, I think I'd be amiss if I didn't bring up the fact, in the history of what has happened here in art in the last 30 years or so. I mean, it's gone through a lot of waves of, from Lahaina being the art place to expanding some, and then Wailea, taking some galleries on, and Makawao continuing to blossom with its own unique charm, right? And then there was a downturn in Lahaina, and a lot of the galleries that were kind of struggling went away, and it's kind of a living thing, but all of it is really interesting because I think there is a lot of reflection of what's going on in the world with our art and what's going on here on Maui. And Maui has continued to grow with artists, and I think the plein air movement kind of really appealed to people who may not be showing in galleries, but are really artists. In fact, I think last weekend they had some of those artists. You can visit them in your home studios was one of the events where you can visit artists in their own home.
Yeah, it's called Maui Studios, I think, and the artists sign up for that too, and they get put on this excursion map, and you typically would visit South Maui or Upcountry Maui or West Side, and they're on different days on the weekend, and you know which artist studio you're going to go to, if you're going to Betty Hayes, or if you're going to Ronaldo Macedo's, or you're going to Carlton's or whatever, but you visit at their home environment, whether it's at the studios at home or at a space that they rent. And it includes things like pottery and painting. I don't know about any photographers, but again, it's giving that experience to all of us that live here. If you want to have some fun on a weekend and they're putting on these kind of events, get in your car, go visit all the studios, visit with the artists, get to know them, and love them like we do.
Absolutely, because you know what? I like trying to back all artists that I can, but it's really hard for some artists to be in a gallery because of the discount that they've got to take on their pieces of art.
Sure.
And some of them would just try to really prefer selling it directly if they could, or selling it in a situation like this amazing opportunity on Friday, or even if they, Friday you're doing it, the sale is at 2 times they can buy it. One would be the noon time. And at that noon event, is there going to be just the ones from that morning, or will there be more?
There'll be just those 23 paintings from that morning.
There's one that you're doing it on Wednesday, the event on Wednesday?
There'll be another 23 paintings there on Wednesday at the Montage Kapalua Bay.
And will those be for sale that day?
Absolutely.
So you can buy it directly from the artist, which is, again, a rare thing. That's something I just think is so great that you're making happen for them.
A lot of people have gotten themselves in trouble a little bit if they don't know too much about art and buy something they think is an original and it's just a copy.
It's happened.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
So the safest way to buy art is to buy it directly from the artist.
Right.
So you have the opportunity to do that anywhere on Maui where you can go to their studio, or at our event where you will actually meet the artist who painted that very painting in the morning, and then or in the afternoon, and they're selling it to you then.
There's so much more to the story that way of knowing a piece of art when you meet the artist. And a lot of the artists, again, will be at the gala on Friday night.
They'll all be there, and
so
they'll
you
all
can
be
meet
telling
the
you.
artists there, and hear and find out what really resonates with you as far as seeing all of the art. 90 pieces are going to be?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wanted to go back to one of the other things that you were talking about, and that is that all of these paintings are scenes of Maui. And we were talking about this at an art lecture last night that we held at the Pioneer Inn, and John Stern was talking about genre. And genre is a fancy French word, but it means painting everyday life. And what our plein air painters do is they sit down on a street corner and they paint the building or the people or the kids at the beach, or they go out in the country and paint the picture of the rainbow over the West Maui Mountains, and they are painting pictures of everyday life on Maui. And so when the painters talk about their art, they often talk about it as reporting And we had, a couple of years ago, we had them all out to Pioneer Mill to paint the Pioneer Mill because while it was still operational. And those are, they become historical notes in the melody of Maui. And so there's something much more to the subjects that the artists pick, and they will show us something that we might walk by every day or drive by every day and not notice, and then they show us the beauty in it.
Well, that's true. And when you even think of Impressionism and Monet or any of the great Impressionist painters, they were doing this. And sometimes you'd see a parade, or you see a church, or you'd see a cafe scene. And now we look at them and we look at, my gosh, they were able to capture the feeling of that moment and that time.
Absolutely.
120 years, 130 years later, we're able to really get a feeling of what was happening
Yes.
then. And I mean, if I'm trying to imagine what would be 130 years from now, looking back at these paintings, it's going to be different.
It's going to be very different
than it is right now.
But
right?
it will all be the Maui genre.
Right.
It'll all be everyday scenes of Maui. And those are the kinds of things that we want to collect. So I was never a collector. Now I am a collector.
Oh, are you? Are you doing?
And I just appreciate those paintings. And we often have people ask, how do you know you're getting a good painting? And even the experts can't tell you every time what's a good painting. But what you buy is something that grabs you. If it grabs your attention and it holds your attention, then that is some painting that's going to give you joy every time you look at it.
And you can also, since you can meet the artist, get their contact. You can get their email. You can find out if you can get their other pieces,
Yes.
So if you really want to build a collection with them, how nice not to just have one, but maybe have four, and see a wall of their paintings, because there is an attraction to certain artists that you just see and fall in love.
And there's attraction to the subject matter.
Well, that's true.
It might
too.
be something in your backyard that you just love.
Yeah.
You know?
And you don't know how their growth is going to be and how they may take off, but you kind of get a feeling sometimes there's a certain magnetism or something that you look at that just goes, wow. Some of those are in this Celebrate Art on Maui. You can look at some of these. I was looking at the one of the girl dancing to the professional dancer.
Yes, now that one is actually a photograph. And
I would never have guessed that's a photograph.
Yes, this is a photograph, and it's by a photographer in Scotland.
But she's
Really?
in front of a famous painting.
Yes.
And I
Isn't
loved it. I just loved it.
It's a picture of a little girl, and she sees the dancer in the picture, and so she poses in the same pose as the picture, as the painting.
just darling.
And they caught a shot of her
It's
doing
very
that.
inspirational.
Cute.
So, but I'd like to elaborate on your comment. When we first moved here, and we've been here 20 years, my husband and I, early on we met Ronaldo, and we bought one of his paintings. Now, this is 20 years ago, okay? We still have it hanging in the home. Since then, of course, we've bought several of his because we follow him. But he's embarrassed when he sees that first painting because it's 20 years ago, and his level of expertise in painting has significantly improved.
Well, you could tell him he could buy it back, or you could trade it for one of his new pieces right now if he's that embarrassed by it.
Well, sometimes, collectors will say to the artist, could you retouch this up a little bit? And Ronaldo says, absolutely not. That is what it was at that time, and that's going to be preserved. So, of course, mine's preserved.
This is something that I love when we do find people who will support the arts and really will love the arts. I mean, there's a difference between someone who will support the arts by giving money, and then there's the art lovers.
The
who
art
really,
lovers,
who just love the art.
We're art lovers.
And yeah, exactly. And you know what? The artists like the supporters who give them money, but they love the lovers, right? Which is because you do your work hoping there's someone that's going to be out there loving it, right? You do hope that it resonates, what your vision is resonates in other person's vision.
Absolutely.
So along that line, one of our programs is our youth paint out. So it's just like the senior adult ones that are painting this 9 days.
Wow.
But we have it one day for the kids, and it's from 3rd grade through 12th grade students. And so they come, and we provide the supplies and art materials and everything they need to paint. And we have an instructor. This year we had Doris McGuire She was the winner of the Lahaina poster this year, and she's a legendary instructor of art. She loves kids, and they put on a great program in Campbell Park
Oh, really?
on Lahaina Street. And the kids come, they paint,
Ah.
and then they have a little lunch. And then after they have lunch, we have an exhibition, and we put up all their paintings, and they're judged.
Kim
And-
Von Tempsky came and judged the paintings.
How nice.
Yep.
Wow. Now, is it plein air?
Yes.
Wow. Isn't that wonderful to start them? So once you figure you can do it, and if you have these wonderful young people who not only do it, but do it and get it in a contest and get it judged, it gives you the confidence to know you can do it again, right?
Yes, and we want to encourage them. We want to encourage their parents to encourage them. And we want the children of Maui to understand that it doesn't just have to be a hobby art, it can be a profession.
Yeah.
And they see these professional painters painting, and that's their career. It gives them that vision of a future for themselves.
How do parents listening now, or maybe the youth listening, get involved in being a part of this?
Well, we will have another one of these paint-outs next February, and we put out the word to all the public schools, and
Oh,
all the
good.
kids are eligible, grades 3 through 12 from any school.
I was lucky enough to have really great art and really great music in the school I went to, and it made a difference in my life.
Yes.
If I could not have had the music and the art, I would have gone crazy. Because believe me, I did not like the math, and I didn't like the chemistry, and I didn't like biology, and I was just so grateful for the English and the art and the music classes.
And there
because
was a
that's what made
career there for you.
it.
Yeah, and you've been great.
And
Oh, my
it-
gosh.
And I still love it. And you know what? We want kids to love school.
Yeah.
We
And
do.
we want them to love it, because whether it's just a music class that makes a difference or the art class that makes a difference, if that's what their passion is, they should be able to find a way to express it. And I have to give a shout out to MAPPA also, you know, 'cause
Napa,
they, you know,
right?
does
And
good things.
Pomaikai School,
Yeah.
art, and
Yeah.
the Waldorf
Waldorf.
School that has an intensive art program, yeah.
Well,
And Maui High.
well, maybe you could bring your family out to see some of these events either Wednesday or on Friday.
And Saturday
let
and
the kids-
Sunday.
Oh,
was
and Saturday
also,
and Sunday.
Yes, and so those.
And that's when? Where's that?
It's at the Royal Lahaina also.
Oh, good.
And they're open to the public. We have light refreshments, and each day we have a panel discussion.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. I'm so glad you mentioned that too, for families who want to get their
Yes.
talented
And artists
children.
demonstrating right in the gallery. So
I
we
love
have
that.
lots of things going on. It's very educational. Bring your family all weekend, Saturday 11 to 3, Sunday 11 to 3.
And you can go to celebrateartonmaui.org, and you can find out more, and you can get tickets to the big gala and art show. And it's going to be a wonderful event, and I really appreciate you driving all the way from Lahaina. They drove all the way from Lahaina, Robert, to come in to be on our show today.
Oh,
I know, I'm just giving you a
how is
hard
it on
time.
the west side?
Huh? Oh, it's just as wet as it is here.
Oh no. Yeah, here too. It's not a drizzle or anything. It's coming down. You know?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Catherine, and it's so nice to meet you. It's been wonderful talking to you. Have a great event.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Cindy.
And
Aloha.